Good morning and welcome in, everybody. Marc Farzy with you here at the Farzy Show at the Steven Singer Studios. PJ, producer Jim, is off. He is taking time off. And what do we say? No vacationing here on the Farzy Show. So I'm running things. I'm actually pushing buttons. I actually see your comments. Like, look, listen, boom. I'll just going to show this one right here. Mally, where'd you go? I just saw you. Boom. There's a comment right there. I actually saw a point guard shoot some jump shots last night. How about that? That was fun. I am giddy today, folks. I am giddy. I am very happy. I just loved what I saw from the 10-9-8 76ers last night. And not only do I love what I saw from the 10-9-8 76ers, I won some money off them last night. Ha ha! Minus what, 3.5 going to the game last night? That's crazy. Thank you for the free money. I also got Joel Embiid for the first basket of the game because, of course, I didn't like his over, 28.5. I didn't like that. I didn't think he was going to play a lot in the opener. They're going to spell him if they could, and I thought it'd be a blowout at the end. So I'm like, why would I bet the over? I'm not going to bet the over there, but I will take it for the first basket. Oh, man, somebody is supersizing his McDonald's later. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the program once again. We're going to talk about those 76ers. As I said, I am very happy, very giddy about what they did last night. The Flyers, holy pots and pans. The Flyers could not be – they're not doing what I had asked them. They're not – I couldn't – I'm no hockey expert, but I believe I said shoot first mentality. I believe the person I pegged the most with that shoot first mentality was Cam Atkinson. And I believe Cam Atkinson had 2 goals for the Flyers last night. And no better example of what I'm looking for than what Cam Atkinson did on the first goal of the night when the Flyers took the 1-0 lead was Cam Atkinson comes down the ice, finds, or he has, I forget who it was on the other side, the other circle. But instead of passing it off, he buried it in the back of the net for the first goal. That's exactly what I want to see from Cam Atkinson. You have one job. Like, I feel like I'm looking at Cam Atkinson as if he's like an older defensive end in football, where it's like, all right, here you go. Here's the deal. Forget about the run. Not going to be your job. Your one job is to put that little black disc on that white net. That's all I want you to do. I want you to get it past the guy in the mask, and I want you to make sure it goes into that netted area. That's it. That's all I want you to do. I want you to think goal, goal, goal. I want you to be as selfish as possible. And Cam Atkinson did a great job of doing that last night. Loved what I saw from the Flyers' new acquisition. And most of that goes around the whole thing with not having Jake Voracek here anymore, because Jake Voracek, by his own admission, was just done with being aggressive, more or less. That's at least how I interpreted it. So we're going to get into the Flyers today. And you know what? Here's what I'll say. The whole, what's his name? The whole thing was, what was I going to say here? The whole thing with Nick Sirianni was very confusing yesterday. I went ahead and I checked out his press conference because I wanted to know about Lane Johnson. And you know what? The first 3.5 minutes of about a 13-minute press conference, it was all about Lane Johnson. And the Eagles, of course, are very supportive. Eagles, they're going to make sure that he has everything he needs to make sure he can get back on the football field as soon as possible. The other good news, ankle injury is no longer an issue. He is being held out strictly for conditioning reasons right now, as he hasn't played in 2 weeks. So they're going to take their time with their 3 weeks, and they're going to take their time with Lane Johnson before he comes back. So good on the Eagles for that. Very excited, very happy to see that they're doing what they're doing right now with Lane Johnson. Very happy that Lane Johnson is back. So we'll see how all this plays out throughout the week. Today, Thursday, we'll see if Lane Johnson addresses the media. I don't think he will. I think today would have been the day to do that. That's when most players speak. We're going to get to Nick Sirianni because I have termed this week Judgment Week from Nick Sirianni. The whole self-evaluation. How is he self-evaluating? How did the last however many days go since they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? How did he self-evaluate? Well, we're going to find out. And I'll just say, I am going to play Nick Sirianni's full answer for you. When he was asked by our good friend John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia about how he self-evaluated, specifically when it comes to slow starts. And we're going to do something here. Maybe you can help me. because I don't have the slightest idea what the hell he was saying. But maybe you guys can help me out with what he had going on. But let's start it off with those 76ers last night, ladies and gentlemen, because 4 different players scored 20-plus points for the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey, as I did want to happen going into last night, ended up happening probably more so because Shake Milton has an ankle injury that he's dealing with. So he didn't play last night. But Tyrese Maxey started out as your point guard last night. 20 points, was a plus 23 on the night, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and more importantly, in 34 minutes played as your starting point guard, 1 turnover. I'll take that every day. Did he have a couple of plays where he tried to do a little too much in the paint, slash to the hole and all stuff? Yes, he absolutely did. But I can live with that. It's like a young quarterback missing a throw or two. That's gonna happen. All right. But you see that happen last night. You see Tobias Harris come up big with 20 points. Joel Embiid came up big with 22 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. And you also had Seth Curry coming in for 10 points as well. But the star of the show, as far as this game went late, it was Furkan Korkmaz, who just exploded in the second half, fourth quarter, to make the Sixers pull away from New Orleans. Look, New Orleans is nothing worth bragging about. I get that. I'm not saying the Sixers are winning a championship based on what they did to the New Orleans Pelicans. But what I am saying is it was a nice little warm-up lap, considering it was your first game after all the drama, after all the BS surrounding Ben Simmons and getting thrown out of practice. Now, I want to go through, real quick, I want to go through this. Let's see. I mentioned Tyrese Maxey, plus 23. Danny Green was a plus 11. Andre Drummond was a plus 22. Furkan Korkmaz was a plus 22 as well. And Ben Simmons was a minus $330,000 for getting suspended and missing last night's game. So that brought me joy. To know that he's not making money, that brings me joy and satisfaction. I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw a tweet, so it must be true. Of someone I don't follow, it just came up, that there was a bleep Ben Simmons chant at the Flyers game last night. If that's true, I find that to be hilarious. The only reason I would really doubt that is that Flyers fans tend to be the most parochial of the fan bases in Philadelphia, in terms of, like, the Flyers fans it's like a club and nobody else is allowed. Like Eagles aren't allowed, Sixers aren't allowed, like that kind of thing. So that would surprise me a little bit. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that they're very focused on their team and nothing else matters while they're at the game. They can be fans of other teams, and they, of course, they are. They're probably 4-for-4 people. But when it comes to the Flyers fans, usually they're the most focused on the team at hand. I'd say it's them, and then it's the Eagles. Those two are probably the most focused on the teams at hand. So that's what I'm looking at coming out of last night's game. But Joel Embiid looked good. I know he gave everybody heart palpitations when he hit the floor after he tripped over Valanciunas' foot, and he rubbed his knee a little bit, and he was limping a little bit, but he got up on the very next play, and he drove the lane and had a great little layup there. I'm fine with that. I am not the person that is worried sick every time Joel Embiid hits the floor. I don't think, oh, God, done for the year. I don't know what it is. I used to think like that, but I don't think like that anymore. Now watch him, have an injury this season that's going to be a week or whatever it's going to be, something small, knock on wood, as I just did. But I don't have that worry and that fear that a lot of people have last night. I saw Keith Pompey on social media posting a lot of gifts last night for Keith Pompey. That a fella. And I saw one of the things he said was every time Joel Embiid hits the floor, and he put out a gif of somebody just like breathing worriedly. And I just don't have that going on with Joe. I just want to see how he's moving. I want to see him hit some threes from the outside, which he did. I want to see him cut to the lane last night like he did. I want to see him set up some teammates last night like he did. And Joel Embiid came out after the game, and I love this. Now, this is where we will get into the distraction that is Ben Simmons and a couple of things that have popped up over the last 24 hours regarding Ben Simmons and this whole situation. But Joel Embiid comes out after the game, and they get him on NBC Sports Philadelphia, which, by the way, side note, Kate Scott loved the broadcast. Loved the broadcast. It's hard when you grew up listening and getting to know and being friends with somebody like Marc Zumoff, who is just so awesome and so great at what he does. I thought the intro was great with Kate Scott. I thought everything they did with Kate Scott last night was fantastic. I really enjoyed the broadcast. Allah Abdul Nabi, obviously great as always. But after the broadcast, after the game, they get Joel Embiid on the microphone. I get him on the headset. And I'll ask them the question about only dealing with basketball now, not dealing with the drama that they had to deal with throughout the week, which is sort of a roundabout way of talking about the issue without talking about the issue. So you're not going to go out there and talk about Ben Simmons, but you're kind of going to hint that Ben Simmons story is still out there. So Joel Embiid handles it like a pro. He knew exactly what to do, and he basically goes down this rant of how much the team loves each other, how much the team likes each other, and it's great to have fun with these guys who want to be around. Shots fired at Ben Simmons. We all get it. But one of the things that I do love seeing is Joel Embiid take on even more of a leadership role. It's one game into the season, but this is a couple of weeks we're talking about with practice now. Talking about practice? Yeah, we're talking about practice because that's where the team's all around each other. That's where they're focused on basketball. So it's great to see a guy like Joel Embiid take even more of the leadership reins. So when we go down that path, Joel Embiid after the game, this is courtesy of our friend John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia, on talking about this team and what they're doing to gel without Ben Simmons.
Just being together, having fun with each other, doing stuff with each other. That's that's also an evolution for me because I usually, when I used to go on the road, I just like to stay in my room and, be on the phone and or play video games. But we've been doing more stuff, together, whether it's dinners and stuff. So, like I said, I think it goes a long way. When you got that type of relationship with teammates, you can trust each other. And on the court, when I'm being doubled, I can trust that, those guys got my back and they're gonna make the game easier for me.
Ultimately, what we want to see from the 76ers, ultimately what we want to see from Joel Embiid is being more of a leader as this goes on. And I am here for it because I never really looked at Ben Simmons as a leader on this team. I looked at him as a guy that was going to be, the quiet guy, the guy that was just going to put it all out there on the court as far as being in shape, being ready to play. We all knew the detriment. I'm not going to get in there. We all knew what he couldn't do well and what's been talked about a lot. But in terms of the guy who's going to be the vocal leader, the guy to bring people together, the guy to go out of his way to put his arm around somebody, like, by the way, Joel Embiid did when Ben Simmons was first in the NBA for his first professional season, not playing because he was injured. He was the guy going out of his way to make sure Ben Simmons felt welcome, putting his arm around him. That's what a leader does, and that's what Joel Embiid does, and that's what Joel Embiid is. I know we'll look at him a lot as a goofy guy, fun-loving, whatever, but that's the guy that wants to go out of his way to make sure people feel included and make sure this team gels and comes together, even with all the adversity that's going on. And by the way, one guy I didn't mention from last night because he helped the Sixers get off on a great start. He had 3 points last night. Niang, fine addition to this club. I'm not really going to mind him coming in instead of Mike Scott. As much as I like Mike Scott, and we all loved Mike Scott, the Hive and everything, as much as we like Mike Scott, when we look at a guy like Niang, I'm in favor of. I'm definitely in favor, especially you keep hitting them jump shots, brother. You keep hitting them threes. Oh yeah, we can party. But loved hearing that from him from Joel Embiid. Doc Rivers before the game again reiterated that he's going to give Ben Simmons as many opportunities as possible to rejoin the team. The Sixers play tomorrow. We'll see what happens today in Camden with the team getting together. We'll see what happens with Ben Simmons. We'll see how this continues. One thing that did come out that was rather unfortunate was this little nugget before the game. This coming from Shams Charania of The Athletic via the Pat McAfee Show. Ben Simmons willing to do whatever it takes to get out of Philadelphia. Well, if being a distraction is one of them, and obviously that's something that's going to happen. I am all for management. I am all for coaches. I am all for the front office. Whatever you got to do. If you got to hold on to this for a while, if you got to say, Ben, you know what? You go ahead, sit out, take your time. This team keeps winning. I know it's just one game against New Orleans, but if this team keeps winning, then guess what? We're going to be in a good place come trade deadline because that's all I'm really looking at here. You never know when a team is going to bulk around the trade deadline. If Ben Simmons stays in shape, which you know he's going to because it's the one thing that's the one thing he could do where he's not helping anybody else really. But if a team is really looking for one player to come in and have an impact, they might be looking at Ben Simmons at the trade deadline, and they might actually jump They might actually jump and give you up a little bit more than what they'd be willing to give you right now. But it really is within the best interest of Ben Simmons to play. The fact that he's just holding out this entire time, the Sixers could make this go on for years. 4 years, to be exact. Another $330 million not in his pocket. Like I told you yesterday, you're going to be up to $1.7 million, $330,000 out of his pocket. You're up to $1.7 million now out of his pocket. Good times. The waiting game continues. Our good friend, who you guys know, who you guys love, Mike Sealski, wrote a great piece yesterday in the Inquirer. If you haven't seen it yet, here's a little excerpt from it. To give you the setup, basically what it is he wrote an open letter in sort of tribute to Zach Ertz and what Zach Ertz wrote to the great people of Philadelphia in his Thank You Philly full-page article in the Inquirer. And this is what Mike Sealski wrote. It was a letter written in sarcasm, as if it was by Ben Simmons to the city of Philadelphia. And this is one of the excerpts. This is, again, written by Mike Sealski, not by Ben Simmons in today's Inquirer. From the bottom of my heart, I am eternally grateful that I never have to play another game for the Sixers again. I came here as a spoiled kid, and I leave here as that same spoiled kid, forever committed to myself and myself alone. Philly, we were never world champions. Oh, well, this was not home. Philadelphia was never home. Sealski speaks for all of us there, doesn't he, folks? It's a great piece. Definitely check it out today in today's Inquirer. But overall, as far as X's and O's goes with the Sixers team and what I saw last night, again, I can't tell you how much I love seeing Tyrese Maxey run this offense. I was just like, here's the unfortunate thing. And other players have come out and said this. I think one of them was Bradley Beal, as a matter of fact. Ben Simmons' defense is great. That's one of the things we always go back to when we in the days where we used to defend Ben Simmons. But in the NBA, it's like if you're a willing participant on the defensive side of the floor, you're going to be pretty good. And that's unfortunate because it just goes to show you how many guys just ignore that side of the floor. Like, they'll stand in front of a guy and like put their hands up. But when it comes to really D'ing up, if you're a willing participant, you could be like a top 20 defender in the league. As terrible as that sounds. Now imagine you're an athletic freak like Ben Simmons, height, the skill set in terms of what you could do with your size, what you could do with your quickness, that speed, obviously. Then you're going to be a top 3 defender in the league, which Ben Simmons is. Obviously finished second in the league in Defensive Player of the Year voting. So I was interested to see just what guys would do willingness to defend. But if you do everything else offensively speaking, where the game is mostly played, like a Tyrese Maxey would do, how much would that help the offense? And last night you saw a good warm-up lap. And that's how I'll refer to this game against New Orleans. Seeing Tyrese Maxey not being afraid to shoot the three-pointer, not being afraid to shoot a jump shot, watch him be able to create that spacing with the defender actually having to come out and guard him for 2 reasons. One, the jump shot. The other, putting the ball on the floor and actually going to the rim himself. Like, you don't get that with Ben Simmons, both those things. You get a defender sagging off, waiting for Ben to come to him. Seeing somebody else be able to create that type of spacing, that was nice to see. Nice to see. Again, a good warm-up lap to the season was seeing this Pelicans team without Zion Williamson, without that freak of nature as well, was just a great way to start. And how about Brandon Ingram coming out last night, having himself a nice little game, number 2 overall pick in Ben Simmons' draft. How about that? So really liked what I saw from the Sixers overall last night. Loved how they were aggressive. Loved how they spread the floor. Loved the offense, the way it was run. I really can't think of a better way to describe it than, all right, good warm-up lap, fellas. Good warm-up lap. Sixers get the win last night. Doc Rivers' media session, not covered. Thought that was weird. Wanted to hear what he had to say after the game. And it was not covered last night, unfortunately, because I like to hear the inflection. That's what I like to hear. Coming up in a minute, we'll speak to a coach who has a lot of inflection, just not a lot of meaning. Not a lot of substance. But again, I'll let you guys hear it because it was head spinning. And there's one specific reference that it made me think of yesterday, and we'll get to that in a second. I do want to get to some of the stuff in the Flyers game last night that I absolutely love. One, a TNT broadcast. I even got a text from a buddy of mine who was watching. I called up on the Flyers after the Sixers. My buddy, I told you about him before. My buddy Joe lives out in Pittsburgh, lifelong Flyers fan. Married a girl from out there. You poor bastard. And he texted me last night that the Wayne Gretzky was doing TNT color analysts for the in between periods. And I gotta say, TNT does a great job with anything they do. I really enjoy. I mean, obviously, basketball comes to mind first. NCAA tournament, baseball. I think they do a great job. TBS as well. I think they all do a great job. And watching Wayne Gretzky break down hockey is just a wild thing to me because he's just such a next level type of guy. And when he's talking about the Flyers, he's talking about your team. You kind of perk up and go, "Oh, wait, hold on. What's the great one? Literally, the great one. What's he saying about my team?" So I love that he was on there. But as far as the game goes itself last night, I mentioned the aggressiveness and what I saw. But one of the things TNT did was they mic'd up Keith Yandle during the game. And I knew you were bringing a veteran presence, and we talked about this leadership with Joel Embiid. Yandle, I think, wants to be that type of guy as well. This is courtesy of TNT because they had Keith Yandle mic'd up during the game. And the guy's a trip. Let's just say that.
Yeah, come on, White. What do you say? Come on, White. Yeah, come on, D. What do you say? Come on, D. Come on, Bronner. What do you say? Lots of talk, huh? Oh, my God. Talk to each other there. He's got a little more time. You want something from 7-Eleven? That's soup. Kidding me? Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Learn from pasta.
First off, I also say this. Other than Keith Yandle, the goal song, the Flyers goal song, that's terrible, right? I'm not the only one that thinks that's god awful. Is that the Six Flags? Is that the old Six Flags theme song? That's what it sounds like to me. It's either that or it's in like some commercial. Is it a Comcast commercial? Are they trying to push product? Whatever it is, I hate it. The other is keep that chatter going, boys. Keep that chatter going. A lot to talk about last night. And did he ask Cam Atkinson on his goal whether or not he wanted something from 7-Eleven? Keith, yeah, this is a Wawa city, bro. This is a Wawa city. The hell's the matter with you? This guy making Severons over there. Come on. But bottom line is Flyers get the win, and that's all that matters to me. Flyers get the win. Big win over the Boston Bruins, a team I've hated my entire life, so that was great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I even get to this, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to do with this. So let me tell you this. Before I let you hear from Nick Sirianni, and also Jalen Hurts, by the way, before I let you hear from Nick Sirianni, I do want to tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, because Steven Singer makes sure that everyone's taken care of every single day in the love business. That's what he's in, the love business. So do what I do. Go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right on Jewelers Row in Philadelphia, and make sure you take care of the person you love with someone that considers themselves in the love business, and that's Steven Singer Jewelers. Don't have to worry about a crazy markup just to mark it down in front of you, because that's why he has the perfect price, because other jewelers mark things way up just to mark it down in front of you and feel like you're winning something. Well, not at Steven Singer Jewelers. You can just sit back, relax, and concentrate on the beautiful diamond jewelry, beautiful piece of jewelry that you want to buy for that special someone in your life. Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia, right on Jewelers Row. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. All right. This is just bonkers to me. Maybe you can help me understand. This is a bit of a long one. It's about 2.5 minutes, maybe 3. Nick Sirianni asked yesterday by John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia about what adjustments or what did he notice during his self-evaluation on what I'm calling Judgment Week. What did he notice about through his own self-evaluation about slow starts to this Eagles season? The beginning of games, why does this team have so many slow starts? Make of this what you can.
You always script your first 10 to 15, but that doesn't mean you always stick to that, right? You go through a drive, you say, hey, are they still playing us the way we thought? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no after one drive. But you don't say like, well, that's automatically what they're doing. They might just have been something that they start with, like. And then you go through another drive, and you're trying to get these answers through your first 15. And so, again, it's just to jump the gun and say, hey, they did this once, we got to switch back, we got to switch to this, I think's a little bit, you don't want to do that because they might just be switching it up for a second and then going back to it. And so, what we do is just throughout the game and throughout the first half, we want to get some looks at different things and see how that we think they're going to play it. And then, especially after you're through that first 10, first 15, then you say, all right, here's our list of plays. What do we need to go to now, right? Because of the way they're playing a certain thing. Or maybe it's not on your game plan, but they're doing something completely off the radar, unscouted looks that they haven't done. Well, then you have to dip into your beaters of, your whether it's your zone read beaters or your, their answers off zone read, or your crack replace beaters in the run game, or your linebackers downhill in the run game, or the defensive end playing a little different in the run game, or it's a different coverage that they go to. So you're constantly looking at that, but you want to get through that first 10 to 15 plays before you get that. And so if you're not finishing, and obviously I'm always going to be critical of myself. That's of very, very first, I'm always going to be critical of myself. And, so that was my answer to you, hey, we got to make adjustments faster. But when you're getting first and second down and you're starting slow, which I feel like we've done obviously the last couple weeks, then you're into third down and then maybe you're punting or you're into a new set of downs. Like, you want to be more efficient on first and second down to feel how they're going to play you. And when we started slow, like, it takes a little, if you're 3 and out, it takes a couple possessions for you to figure it out because you're not getting enough plays. So we just got to be better on first and second down, especially early in the game, so we can make those adjustments even quicker.
What was that? I don't know what that was. That was something. He said stuff. I'm not exactly sure what it was. It lost me. So hopefully in the comments, before I go to them in our social media check-in, hopefully you guys can break it down for me, because the reference that comes to mind is Billy Madison during the competition at the end of the movie, and the guy, the principal, looks up at Billy Madison and says, what you said had no basis in reality. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. That's kind of how it felt listening to that with Nick Sirianni. So I say all that to say this, or I play all that to say this. Throughout the week, I have been referring to this week as Judgment Week with Nick Sirianni. This is Judgment Week. He had all the time in the world to do self-evaluating. He comes back, and that's the answer he gives to better starts. Sometimes you skip the first 10 to 15 plays. Sometimes you don't, but sometimes you do, but sometimes they change. Okay? But what are you doing? Like, here's the thing. Everybody that's played Madden at 10 years old knows the defenses do different things. Thank you for that. And everybody knows that throughout the weeks during the NFL season, you're going to be facing different defenses that do different things. So why not just talk about what you do well? What's the play? What's the strategy that you say, all right, this is our best thing, have at it. Try to beat us with these plays because these are our best. I'm not expecting him to come out and diagram plays and just put it out there in the open, because obviously there's a part of gamesmanship that goes with all this. But you talk about the best possible position for Jalen Hurts. What is that? Here's what I know it's not. It's not RPO, screen, RPO, screen. I know that's not what it is. Where's running the football in all of that? Shane Steichen came out yesterday and said, hey, look, or 2 days ago, with the weather getting worse and colder, you got to make sure that you have a physical run game, and you got to establish that. So we're going to wait for the weather now to dictate when the Eagles are actually going to run the football. Where's finding that balance? Hey, you know what? Through self-evaluating, there's a couple of things that I'd like to do different. One is definitely get our playmakers more involved. And without Zach Ertz here anymore, which, by the way, I didn't even really hear about Zach Ertz in this press conference. Go through the entire couple of days off through the mini bye week. And, we got to make sure we're getting Miles Sanders the ball. We got to make sure we're putting Jalen Hurts in a better spot. We got to be using Quez Watkins more. We got to make sure we're throwing the ball downfield. We're going to get our offensive lineman back, most notably Lane Johnson, and we're going to go from there. Like, where's that? Where's just something as basic and as general as that? Because that's all you're looking at. Like, you're not going to win by ignoring the run. I know that the NFL is not based on the run. We were talking about it the other day with Hugh on Hugh's Day. We were talking about it with linebackers in the NFL. Those big, burly linebackers don't exist anymore. They're all svelte-looking safeties, basically, at linebacker. I get that. That's how the game's played. Same thing on the offensive side when we're talking about a running back. The game's not run through them anymore. You rarely see the ground and pound types of teams. But here's what you also don't see. Teams totally ignoring and abandoning the run. I mean, abandoning you do see in the second half when you're down. Ignoring you don't see. This is unlike anything I have ever seen when watching Eagles football. Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not expecting Ricky Waters to come out for what, but he was a pretty good running back, so other than that one line. But I'm not expecting that guy to come out and be the bell cow guy. The Eagles certainly don't have Derrick Henry. The Eagles don't have Ezekiel Elliott. Eagles don't have a healthy Nick Chubb. Like, they don't have these guys. So I get they're not going to constantly run the football, but to have us looking at the first half of games going, why does Miles Sanders only have one carry? Why does Miles Sanders only have three touches? Like, get the ball in his hands. It shouldn't be that difficult. And I'll always make sure I come back to this. It's not just Nick Sirianni. It's the front office. It's Jeffrey Lurie. It's Howie Roseman. This is how they think Eagles football is now. This is what they want Eagles football to be. And they're two people that are pretty high up to dictate what Eagles football should be. One's the guy that owns the team. The other is the guy that runs the team. But the guy that's owning the team feels more like he should be the one running the team more and more. And with the guy as inexperienced and with no clout, no pull like Nick Sirianni making your decisions on game day, what is he going to do? Yeah, Jeff, not doing it. Okay. Good luck to you next year when you're looking for a job. After Andy Reid, who Jeffrey Lurie more or less like came up with as an owner, I know Kotite was here, but after Andy Reid, they had a great bond, they had a great relationship. The power struggle wasn't between Reid and Lurie, it was between Reid and Banner, reportedly, and I believe. When the power struggle then after that went away, it just came down to then Howie versus Joe Banner, and then Howie won that. And then they both fell in love with Chip Kelly. It's like, this guy can run everything. He's a college coach. He used to have a say over everything. Let's give him the reins. His biggest mistake wasn't that he wasn't winning football games anymore. His biggest mistake was that he made the owner feel ostracized. Like it wasn't even his team. So you brought in Doug, somebody that could, have the command of a former player. And also, is a nice guy because he played for you during the Andy Reid era. And you got to feel like you had that warm, cuddly teddy bear like you used to have with Andy Reid. Then he won a Super Bowl, and it went to everybody's heads. They won because of me. They won despite of you. Finger pointing, and instead of identifying that Super Bowl and going, all right, great, now what else can we improve upon? They went, all right, great, we're great, we changed nothing. Like, that's not what great teams do. That's not what great franchises do. They win, they have success, and they go, how do I get better? Not everything we're doing is fine. Stamp of approval. And then things started to hit the fan with Doug's. Things started to hit the fan with the Carson Wentz. And now we're in this other alternate universe with Nick Sirianni. And we're looking at this guy. And I know, hey, look, it's a press conference. Yeah, but I'm seeing a lot of personality traits in the game that I'm seeing in the press conference, which is unsure of your own playbook. I mean, I'm sure you're running the ball a little bit in practice. Maybe go to those, right? Maybe not ignore your running back. Maybe not consistently do the same things because it's where you're comfortable. Maybe go outside that comfort zone a little bit. Really, I only saw that in one game this year. Saw it against Kansas City Chiefs. You put up a lot of points, put up a lot of numbers. That's great. That seemed to be where your offense was most comfortable. Go ahead and do that. If you're executing, if you're getting that stuff done, if you're being creative and putting your offense in the best possible position like you were in that Kansas City game, where's more of that? It seems like you really got away from that. So the Eagles right now, just looking at a team that's uncomfortable. Look, the proof is going to be in the pudding. You got 10 days between games. You go out to Los Angeles. You face a Raiders team who is coming off a very good win, 34-24 win over the Broncos. I believe it was divisional win, big win for them. First game without John Gruden. So you got a lot going on there. You have a lot going, hopefully, in your direction, other than the fact that it's on the road. The biggest thing in your direction is that you had 10 days between games to prepare for this. So we'll see exactly what they were doing over this 10-day layoff. And we'll see if they come out swinging. We'll see if they come off actually learning from the mistakes that they made through the first 6 games of this season. Because you know what? 6 games is a pretty decent sample size, even in a 17-game season. You can look at the first 6 games of the season and go, all right, here's where we're at. This is where we need to improve upon. And let's see if they actually do it. Because bottom line is, none of this should matter. But for whatever reason, for some stupid reason, it does. Because it's still an insight into the way the coaches or the players are thinking. And it's the only way we can get inside their head. Other than that, we're just going to watch games and try to read their body language, try to make out what they're saying to each other on the sidelines, whether or not there's confidence in each other, whether or not there's doubt, whether or not Jalen Hurts liked the play that was just called, whether or not Jalen Hurts wants to do other things, whether or not he's frustrated if he throws the surface down on the ground and he doesn't like what he sees, if he is disgusted with himself or his game or the game plan. All this stuff that goes into it, we all see during the game. But we get a little sneak preview when we hear an answer like that from Nick Sirianni, and we're left scratching our heads going, okay, so you need to improve on opening drives early in games. You need to improve upon that offense. How are you going to do that? You're not going to tell us. You're not going to tell us specifically of things that disappointed you for the first 6 games of the season. And he was asked point blank about self-evaluating, an even more incoherent answer. Let's hear from the guy that's actually going to be running these plays. So that's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts yesterday at practice. Here's a 2-parter for you from Jalen Hurts. One has to do with those in-game situations where Nick Sirianni said he's kind of riding the highs and the lows of the game. He's allowing himself to get a little too high, allowing himself to get a little too low. Jalen Hurts likes to stay even-keeled. Here's Jalen Hurts on that, as well as executing plays that are he just says executing plays that are called. You'll hear the question and the answer here with Jalen Hurts.
Evaluated about himself is that he needs to be a little more steady. He feels like sometimes he gets too up when things are good, maybe too down when things are bad. I think you've long prided yourself on being very consistent and steady. How have those two personalities meshed when he gets that way, perhaps when you're kind of maybe more flatline?
I think, the first thing that came to my head when you said that was, everybody's good when everything's, operating well, everything's clicking, so let's make it click. Simple.
Jalen, there's a sample size that, you're not testing the middle of the field between the hashes. Very few targets in that area. Is that kind of how you see it? Or, are you purposely avoiding that area of the field, or is that just the way the offense takes it?
Just trying to execute everything that's called.
I can't help it. When he says I'm trying to execute everything that's called, I don't take it as this guy sucks calling plays. I'm not hot taking you like that. But I will say that there is some doubt about what's called and when it's called and how he tries to execute it. That's all I think it is. I think Jalen Hurts is very aware that Nick Sirianni could be doing a much better job as a play caller. But Jalen Hurts is also in a position where I think he knows that this guy isn't going anywhere. So if he wants to stay in Philadelphia, hey, man, whatever you call, I'm going to try to do the best I can to execute that play. The one critique that I will say that came out of the Nick Sirianni press conference is one that I think you know already, but at least it was acknowledged. And that was Nick Sirianni saying that he's uncomfortable when Jalen Hurts doesn't go through his progressions and just takes off. When he takes off too early, that concerns the head coach. And that should concern every head coach because you don't want a quarterback doing the one read and done. For some guys, it worked. Alex Smith was a guy that would be able to do that, certainly out there in San Francisco. Colin Kaepernick's another guy that came around to the same type of philosophy. One read, done, move on. If it's not there, go. Jalen Hurts, I don't think, is being coached to do that. I think Jalen Hurts is being coached to go 1, 2, 3, out. Or 1, 2, out, depending on how much time he obviously has in the pocket. But the fact that he's not throwing the ball over the middle of the field, I would actually like less opportunities to do that. Because when you think about this offense, everything's to the sidelines. If you're like the success you had against Kansas City, a lot of those plays were to the sideline. A lot of those plays were on screens. A lot of those plays were motion in the backfield, getting guys moving so that they're actually already running at a high pace when they snap the ball to try to get him downfield, whether that's Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith. That's what the offense is doing. That's how the plays are called. Nothing is really over the middle. And now without Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert still being on the COVID-19 list and not playing, not participating in practice, I don't know who's going down the middle of the field. Maybe you're in a post route deep that's sort of the middle of the field, but it's not within 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. This offense has a lot of issues. I think they have weapons, and I think they have no idea how to use them. And that's what it feels like. And I'd like to at least start off by going with the most basic thing in the world. Because one of the things that they always talk about, Nick Sirianni, in terms of defense is scouting this team. Or, excuse me, you scouting opposing offenses, rather. One of the things they always talk about is, yeah, they did a couple of things that we didn't really see on film that we really didn't expect. Where's you doing that? Where's you running plays or calling plays that maybe the defense didn't expect? Like, maybe you have Jalen Hurts just line up under center, turn around with the ball, hand it to a running back and see what he does with it. That's a really creative play right there. But I'll tell you what, it'll take defenses back. Whoa, what? Did they just line him up under center? What do we do now? We'll see what happens there. I do want to tell you about some great people that help out with this show. By the way, all this wonderful sound is brought to you by the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics. Make sure you trust Rothman Orthopaedics for all your orthopedic needs. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Eagles, Phillies, and Sixers. How about BetQL? I hit a BetQL last night. Now, last night, I'll say this. It wasn't needed for me when making Sixers picks. If you guys remember, I started out the season last year with the basketball season. 18 in a row. Basketball, I feel like I got down pretty well, especially with the Sixers. I know you shouldn't bet the Sixers, but I can't help myself. It's the team I know best. But here's what BetQL does for those other teams. They make you do the research. They make you do the homework so that you have the edge over your sports book, because that's what we're all looking for, right? BetQL is the app you need to download if you want to make the smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports, and they give you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from spreads, over-unders, player props as well. It's great. Don't want to use the model or prefer to do your own research? BetQL has the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news, even a leaderboard for you to track your own success. Head to the App Store now or Google Play Store to download the BetQL app. I always love talking to you guys about Steak and Maine, the amazing people of Steak and Maine. My man, Tony Cavada, he's got Cavada Cellars wine standing by at the ready for you to sample and enjoy with maybe a little wine pairing with that tomahawk, 2-pound tomahawk steak. I mean, I say wine pairing a lot. I mean, it's delicious red wine, Pinot Noir, with a delicious red meat. Pretty basic. About 80% of the time, you're not going to go wrong with a red and red meat. Like, you're going to have a good time. So have yourself a good time at Steak and Maine. Whether you like to dine in their casual bar and patio, their beautiful steakhouse, they got a great patio out there to relax at a nice fall day. Great sports bar to watch a game, have a beer. They got cigars they're selling there. They're having a great time at Steak and Maine. The party table in the back that I always tell you about, it's a great time. But make sure you're enjoying the fine steaks, the prime cuts of meat, fresh seafood, and amazing sushi at Steak and Maine. So check out Steak and Maine, steakandmaine.com for more information. To the heart of Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself. Go to steakandmaine.com. How about the people of Windview? Oh, if you're having your fantasy football league and it's not going the way you want, like this week for me is probably not going to go the way that I want. So it all starts tonight with Thursday Night Football. Well, if your game's not going the way you want it, maybe make a bet, maybe make a challenge with your friends using the WinView app to put a little skin in the game. Your friend talking some smack, see if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk when it comes to how much they know about sports. Whether or not it's your friend, your family, get-togethers, whatever it is. Thanksgiving is going to be here before we know it, folks. You can certainly make Thanksgiving dinner a little bit more interesting with some skin in the game, betting on the Thursday games there. So whether you're tracking the games on Sunday, MLB playoffs, whatever it might be, add a WinView contest to it, and you can have yourself a good time. Not a sports book, not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where you can win real money prizes for making predictions on the games that you love. Download the WinView app right now and have yourself a good time. And make sure you're following all the drama with the Sixers, all that's going on with the Flyers, all that's going on right now with the Eagles as well, and Sixers and Flyers, and also all the stuff that's going on there. Make sure you're following it right now. In the Union, make sure you follow with PHL Sports Nation. Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Let's jump into the moment you've all been waiting for. Our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. Boy, oh boy, so many to get to here. Oh, let me just start it off with this little game right here. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Mally checking in. Marc, chat. Morning, guys. What's happening? Dax checking in. Hi, Dak. Good morning. Now, I can do this week because usually it's PJ, it's producer Jim, who's on vacation. We talked about how he's got the big boy travel stuff nowadays, right? You got the luggage, right? I can do this because I'm running the show here. So I can do this. When he's on remote, he can't do this for me. So I'm doing this. You guys get famous here. Boom. Dax up there. Let's see if we can get Kevin. Good win, but New Orleans is terrible. Very true. Good warm-up lap. Good warm-up lap. An exhibition within the regular season. I like it. Good morning, Farzy. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Kevin. Nice to have you. April. Marc is in charge. In the radio business, we used to call this pushing the buttons, spinning the dials, even though there was really no dial to spin in talk radio. Uh-oh. Me happy and got a gray shirt on. This might be scary. It's fine. Sean, morning to you. Nice to have you on the program. What's going on? Let's see here. Ben Simmons should be known as BS going forward. I really like that. I really, really, really like that. Nick Sirianni, self-evaluation, playing rock, paper, scissors with himself. First off, excellent use of his self. I like that, Mally. Dan, nice Sixers win. I'll catch the pod. I'm over at K&A for a big cleanup. Have a good day, everybody. Mally, you were right on point with your tweet last night, buddy. Oh, yeah, Mally, you Ben Simmons, Mally's point, I think, yesterday was Ben Simmons was rooting against the Sixers and cheering every time New Orleans scored. By Mally's contention. There was no report. That's just what Mally was feeling. Do you think Ben Simmons is cheering every time New Orleans scores? Hell yes. Absolutely he was. If Ben Simmons is going to show up and be a distraction and show up, not participate, and just try to cash a check, I applaud the Sixers for doing everything they can to make sure he cashes as little of that check as possible. That's what I love. What else do we have? April, yeah, definitely not rock, paper, scissors. Scissors are too sharp and scary. Very true. Let's see what else we have going on here. Max said, hey, Rich Paul, all your clients don't bitch. It's a good point. A very good point. Oh, April down there in North Carolina. Wawa, someone send me a hoagie. I would really miss that. I mean, I've been on the road for long enough weekends where I've been like, damn, if I could just hit up Wawa, man, feel like I'm so much more at home. Sean, Wawa Club sandwiches are priceless. For a long time, the roast beef sandwich at Wawa was my go-to. And then I became a big chicken fingers guy. When I used to do the overnight updates at WIP, I lived in the city, and the studio's in the city, so I'd ride my bike to and from. And I always loved Friday night, Saturday morning, like 1 a.m., get out. Oh, man, I'm going to hit up Wawa. I'm going to go back to the apartment. I'm going to watch Battles BC on the History Channel because I know how to party. And I'm going to crush some Wawa chicken fingers. The only thing, it was like dinner and a show, not just Battles BC on the History Channel, but also the fact that all the drunk people were just like getting to Wawa at that time. And it was, oh, man. I saw the worst example of a guy trying to pick up a girl at Wawa, the romance capital of the world, Wawa. And her friend was just sitting there. I remember she was eating Funyuns, and she was just watching this guy hit on her friend. And the girl was just like, I got a boyfriend. And the guy who was drunk off his arse, he just goes, "Oh, come on, no way." And then she goes, "No, I do." And then he dropped a B word, and her friend eating Funyuns never broke stride and just goes, "Epic fail, man. Epic fail." And I just remember sitting there watching that. Put yourself in my shoes for a second. Watching that, who's not at all drunk, just got off work, just wants some chicken fingers, and watching that exchange. It was so enjoyable. And there's like 1,000 examples of that. So there you go. And I'd also buy the guy who opens the door for you a pretzel. That's what I'd do. But yeah, I would miss Wawa as well and all that stuff. Oh, okay. I'm glad you guys are seeing this. One guapo, right? There's no other way to say that. One guapo. El guapo. Good morning to you. April, Mally, Sean. Does Sirianni even understand what he is saying? Rock, paper, scissors, indeed. Ooh, Sean, this is a great point. The Eagles Super Bowl win. Victory made you weak. Bane. Dark Knight Rises. That's a good one. What else do we have? Kevin's checking in. What's up, Kevin? Nice to have you. Kevin is saying they should get Vic to coach up Hurts. He reminds me a lot of him. Great speed and has a cannon, but just needs to get way more accurate. I question that cannon on Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying he has a Nick Foles type arm, because Nick could throw the ball country mile, but it just took a while to get there. It was an arch. I kind of see the same thing with Jalen Hurts. Stronger, no doubt stronger arm, but I see more of a loft throw than I do a bullet throw, for instance, with Jalen Hurts. But I don't see the cannon. I will say it's a little bit different. Kevin is also saying lining up under center, running the ball. You're talking crazy, Farzy. Thank you, Kevin. I am aware. Mally, watch Battle of BC. I know how to party. It was a great show. I don't know. I'm sure I've said this before. If I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, ladies and gentlemen, I would probably be like, if I didn't go and pursue like broadcasting, whatever, I probably would have studied. I minored in history for a semester at Temple. But with the intent that, if I don't get into broadcasting, I'll become a history teacher and I'll coach basketball somewhere. I love history. I'm a history nerd. And when the History Channel got rid of History International because they were bought out by Vice or something stupid, what the hell, man? That was a crime. But now you just go on to YouTube and you could watch it, or I think like Prime, Amazon Prime, I think has the Prime Video. I think they have like the History Channel Vault, and you can go in there and watch all that great stuff. Like The Men Who Built America. That's a great thing. That's a great show. America, the Story of Us, or Mankind, the Story of All of Us. Amazing. So anyway, that's what I like to do on my free nights. Just watch a little of that. Drunk History April, also a fantastic show. No doubt. Thanks to everyone that chimed in our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Much appreciated. Here's what you got. 76ers after their 117-97 win over the Pelicans. This is your morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motor Cars and SkyMotorCars.com. Sixers have their home opener against the Brooklyn Nets coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow in South Philly, 7:30 tip-off. Can't wait for that game to see how that one goes. Very much looking forward to what exactly is going to unfold with Ben Simmons. And I know that story just came out with Sham that I just showed you, as far as Ben Simmons wanting to do everything he can to get out of Philadelphia. There it is again. Whatever it takes. Sixers, I think, are willing to hold out and just keep on playing and hopefully keep on winning. You're going from a nice warm-up lap like New Orleans to a very tough game against the Brooklyn Nets. Very tough game against the Brooklyn Nets, and that goes without saying, as we all know. But I'll be rooting for the Sixers to win this game, probably harder than I've rooted for any Sixers team to win the second game of their season ever. And a lot's riding on it. Because if they can get past this Brooklyn Nets team and they win, oh, man, Ben, you take your time, son. You take your time. You're paying Maxey the 23rd overall pick, whatever, bottom dollar. You're good. Have yourself fun. Just hold out as long as you want, Benny. That's all I give a damn about. As for the Flyers, like I said, they won 6-3. By the way, Martin Jones was in net last night. I thought that it would be Carter Hart again. It was not. Martin, don't call me Martin Jones, was in net last night for the Flyers. Had himself an interesting game, allowing 3 goals, but only a couple were his fault. Just defense got beat a couple of times. But also last night with the Flyers winning, they beat the Bruins. So that's always a good thing. But then they also got another game coming up on. They got a couple of days off. They don't play till Saturday, I believe it is. And they got the Panthers. So the Flyers open up their season. They got 12 goals in their last 2 games. I'll take that every day of the week. So yeah, the Flyers are going to be back on the ice coming on, are they on Sunday or Saturday? That's a long layoff. Saturday, they are back on the ice hosting the Panthers in that game. You can catch on, I know, ESPN Plus. So that's the world we live in now. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Oh, last thing, for those watching, this is awesome. This is one of my favorite things that the Flyers have done. So the star of the game gets to wear a 1990s style Flyers starter jacket. I am here for that. I am definitely here for that. Travis connecting in the background. Really loving that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. My name is Marc Farzy. Thanks for joining me here at the Steven Singer Studios. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, or excuse me, Friday morning, to talk about obviously the Eagles kicking off with the Oakland Raiders and so much more. We'll also preview a little bit more of the Sixers and Nets game. Coming up also a little bit later this morning, more me. I'll be back on Fox 29 with Alex Holly and Mike Jarrett coming up at 7:45. On Fox 29 with the Good Day people. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.